hope for life is to have a better life in future.
I hope to help my children not to live the life I've lived.
We join our hands together, then we look for our strength on how we can assist our fellows.
Rafiki.
That's a Swahili word, Rafiki. But in English it's
Friend.
friend.
A friend.
Rafiki to me, it means a community-based organization that sponsors orphans and vulnerable children. Okay, for me it means that Rafiki is empowering me and the rest to be able to help the rest who are trying to make the changes, to make the change together.
One of the major focuses for Rafiki is child is at the center of everything we do.
Even if we don't have something as the money and whatever, we can combine our ideas and come up with something and do something that can help us, so that can enable us to sustain ourselves without anybody's assistance, independent of anyone to help us.
It takes a village to serve a child, not just an individual.
Ani mama Rafiki. Ani wulo magidakie. Ani wudala magipongo gidakie. Miyo na mor gi Rafiki kabisa.
Pogruok. Lakini ne wan matek. To kamzel no se biro.
Mama Michelle nobiro kaeni kane dwaro mondo kony nyithindo ma weche mag itikie and others. Nyithindo ma vulnerable. So kanyo ero noyudo ka ana part to it kata nyithindo ne nitie kanyo.
I just came one weekend it was more of sort of a fun weekend, and I was immediately enamored by the community, by the warmth and generosity, their hospitality. Essentially, that's how things started. There certainly was not any plan that, okay, I'm now going to go to this village and we're going to do this, this, this. It was just responding to situations.
Wachako yudo puonjo ma wachogo. Bas koro kwa bedo ni koro nwadhi e tiegruogno. Chak mar dhoggi bende ok ne usi, nimiyo nyithindo madho.
Before I knew it, pieces started to come together, and slowly, slowly we had the makings of a community development initiative.
Rafiki timo pogruok nitie. Gitimo gik mang'eny kanyo. Emomiyo berna.
You know, first of all, I should tell you my name. I'm Cosmas Onyango Kwama, Senior Chief for Central Uyoma location. Central Uyoma is made up of 3 sub-locations, Masala, Rachar, and Kobong. And I'm the person in charge of that place called Central Uyoma.
In the Kwane LU Odongi, to now originate from LWO, Luos. Luos gin oganda ma onowuok Sudan, gin oganda ma okne kawane kolo River Nile kabiro go mos nyaka ne waluo mochopo Lake Victoria. Ne gin jolupo kendo ne gin jokwath to molo lupo.
I'm born in this area, that is the Lucy village, in Rarieda constituency, Siaya County, in Kenya. We are 8 in total, and my mom passed when I was 6 years. So I can say I was raised mostly by my dad. And my dad had 2 wives. He was a polygamist. Then 2 years after that, the second mom passed away when I was 8 years. After my second mom's death, my dad realized that we were still young. My younger sister and me. So he decided to remarry. So he married the third wife. And my third mother passed away again. So when I was a child, my dad was not around. So we could struggle and struggle. We could fetch firewood to go and sell so that we get money to eat. And we could go so far places to fetch water. Sometimes we could skip school. We could not go to school because you are hungry and tired. So we could just sleep in the veranda there, outside the house. And sometimes you could not even get food. That is when we had hard life. Yeah.
I'm from a family of 7. One died at the age of 2 years, so we remained 6. My father was a shoe mender. He was doing the work of repairing shoes. My father died 10 years ago. We were left when we were very young. At that moment, he was the breadwinner of the family. When he died, he left my mother without nothing because he also didn't have a formal employment, so he left nothing behind. So my mother had to struggle her ways to make sure that the family get going. We only depend on my mother, who is also doing subsistence farming for the family upkeep, but actually sometimes it gets very hard for her to get other requirements like stationaries, school uniform, and clothing for the family as she looked forward for the basics like food and shelter. When I was in school, I was struggling that what after primary, who will hold my hand? When I was looking back at the family situation, I was saying that I won't make it.
I'm from Kenya. Initially, our mother, we were here with my mother, so they went to search on what we can eat at Uganda there. So it is work that took them there. And then by bad luck, my mother died there. My father returned back, which of course I don't even know where my father is. So I knew some people there who are coming from Kenya. I was 7 years old. 7 years old. So due to music, I studied long. So they knew me and they knew my mother. So after my mother died, they decided to take care of me. So they brought me back, and then I told them I'm going to my grandmother. So my grandmother was there initially, but now she is dead, and I live alone now. My dream is I want to be a musician, and I want to sing songs like gospel. That because I'm actually a Christian, so I have to keep all my secrets to my Lord who always help me, and that's what I want to do even in future.
Turuane kana chopo no ber ne okorach sane koro rach oro ng'eny chieng' rieny chiemo be onge lo ma wantie ni bende rach.
There's a problem of water. We normally use pond water. That is where we get water. The rain rains into the pond, then we collect water from the pond. But during dry season, the water dries off from one pond, then we have to run to another pond. And as time goes, all the ponds might dry, then we have to buy water from people fetching it from the lake. Yeah.
Water is a very big problem. Although you can see the lake, yeah, but you know all along there has been no piped water. There was one line which was serving Uyoma as a whole. Uyoma is a big place, but you know the number of people increased, the population increased.
The pipe network, it doesn't go everywhere. Most community members don't have access to. The pipeline are still very far from the community members. So the water points are far. You find that they say, okay, myself being a woman, I should not walk for a long distance before getting that water. The water should be at most maybe 100 meters.
This pond is called the Okwanyoyo. There is no water, it is dry, and we get water from a very long distance. If the water finishes like this one, we are going to the lake. No fresh water unless you reach to the lake. That is why we are trying to clear these bushes so that you can have a chance to dig a pond so that the community can get fresh water.
This is a pond. This is where we get all our water. All our water source is here. And this water is used for all kind of things. Water for drinking, water for cooking, and for any other domestic purposes.
In our constitution, everybody should have access to clean and safe water. But in Kenya, we still have so many places where people don't have access to clean and safe water. Within the region, we only have the lake water, and normally the distances are long because not everybody will go to the lake, and then the lake water is raw. So getting water in Uyoma is a problem for everybody. Yes, that's why the community thought of starting their own company to provide for them safe drinking water for the children and the women, yes, for domestic use. Our main challenge is most of our water points are far from the consumers. So we have a community water point, someone coming as far as maybe 2 kilometers to fetch water. Our next activity should be networking to extend the pipeline to the various people or community members so that they can have access and readily available water. In total, there are 41 water kiosks within the community. These water kiosks can provide water to averagely 50 households within a day. Within the last few years, we've managed to have our network expanded by some few kilometers with the help of our friends Rafiki. We don't get any support from the government.
There's a lot of famine, and that has made many communities around us live in a poverty. And since the community in this region, they depend on subsistence farming, So when there is a lot of drought in one season, the harvest fail. So when the harvest fail, they get it very hard to get on what they can survive on.
Kaka ardayo, maduong, angi kie, abich. Koro sani, one cage, feel your top. Wangi chiemo, one to the chamo. Wangi duma, wangi bell. You do this school cage.
Another area where we have problems is this question of HIV/AIDS. Yeah, really, so many people have died from this disease, and so now you find there are very many widows, there are very many orphans, and you know, when widows are there, and they don't, and there is that poverty, definitely. They will have to find ways of surviving, and definitely they can easily get this disease. We have our traditional culture that has not been good, because with our culture, when a husband dies, another person is supposed to take that widow as a wife. And you know, when the man died with that disease, of course I know of discordant couple, okay? But then it is likely that this fellow may also be infected.
Well, ukimwi, HIV and others, yeah. And nemenunego jo. Kata joga ana bende. Makata an malusonieri and positive. Kicha seng'eyo my position. Koro tija an mawuoni en ni atemo puonjo ji ni entie dir ng'eny nikech thone ng'eny. Tae piny bende kopidh gimoro to tim maber. To moloyo orphanage nobetie ahinya. Tho nobedo mang'eny ahinya. Tae yuto bedo ok piny nikech production mawuok e lowo ok timne maber.
Children in this area, we have orphans, death of parents. You know, in our area here, parents are dead. Many of them are dead. Children who are here, even if we happen to count in this school, we have large number of orphans in our school than those who have parents. And in these parents, some of them are disabled. Some they don't have. They can afford only to eat. And that one that can even take children to school.
Nitiere yo ma nyithindo bedo go abused be seche moko. Inyalo yudo ka en nyathi matin timiye kata kamoro maduong' mondo beti.
Mostly, the orphans, they are not going to school. Most of the orphans were working for people as maids, looking after animals. See this kind of things. Yeah.
Nitiere jomoko modagi nyithindo makiye. Samoro yudo ka igole kata sa 12 kodhi omo pi gi ndowo maduong' moko nyal ting'o. Koro chuna nadhi wuoyo gi guardian modak kode. Yeah.
Okay, I would say the girl's life is much harder than the boy. Because if she gets pregnant, if she gets pregnant and she was still a school-going girl, that means life is going to be even more difficult for them than the boy.
Otimrega kuonde mang'eny kata yani e village wa kai kata kai ong'eny.
I would say poverty is the main thing here because when the parents can't educate the girl, and being that the parents weren't able to afford the basic things she needs, she'll start like now being sexual active, like boys will start luring her, like giving her gifts, and through that, you know, if a boy gives you something, always in return, he also will want to be refunded back. And that's how the girl became pregnant at a early age.
We have been having cases of sexual abuse, and we may find in most cases they don't come out very clearly because the children are sometimes abused by their very closest relatives, and in such cases you may find the mother may fail to disclose, while the father may be very, very much cruel on such issues.
In future, ginyalo endelea gi masomo ma future gi nyalo bet maber kendo gi nyalo bet ni romre ma onge ni jok moko dhi to jok moko ni.
Rafiki as an institution has really started, rather initiated the projects which are really very helpful to the people in their community.
Rafiki basically focuses on 4 areas, which is education, economic empowerment, health, and advocacy.
Rafiki kano se biro kar kaendi to nitie kaka nowach ne chief mondo rang jok ma active manyalo konyo e kor gweng' kachako tich kodgi tachako kaka paralegal mane ng'iyo kaka nyithindo dak, kaka ji odak gi nyithindo.
They identified some homes that were very desperate, and in these homes they gave them even hens, goats. They went as far as even giving some seeds. Now I told you the main activity here is agriculture. Some certified seeds to some people so that the crops can grow and then they have a good way of surviving.
Ani nyithindo auchiel, nyikwaya bende an go. Nyikwaya go bende gin auchiel madak ga ot ka. Awuoga ka okinyi, adhi garam, gimene aruoga nyuka, kura hono ga nyuka no. To kasehono tayudo kaka dang' achiem godhiambo.
In all the households we focus on, there is a kitchen garden. They know how to plant, but we choose for them which is like skuma wiki is very important because it's very nutritious to them. Planting something like tomatoes, yeah, that's why Rafiki is just there as a catalyst. We don't change things, we strengthen.
We are tying grass that we collected out there. This family cannot be able to afford an iron sheet house. So we are helping tie this grass, put them on top of the house, of the roof, so that they are safe from bad weather, safe from rain. Do like a do. Do like a do.
Some of the diseases we get because of the poor hygienic conditions in our places. Somebody is not using a pit latrine. It's going to the bush, it rains, or everything's washed to the stream. The following day you go and fetch that water, you come to drink with it before boiling it. So you have a problem. So it's a matter of practicing some kind of a hygiene where somebody, or rather a home, should have a latrine.
We have a lady here. She has 2 kids, but when we came to visit her, we realized that she does not have a toilet. We had dug the hole for the toilet, so the hole has been done. Now we want to put a foundation on it, then we make the structures now. and also our house was in not in good shape. In the morning we did the floor of the house. We prepared some sort of plaster. It's used traditionally around here. We mixed the cow dung and the soil and water. It makes some sort of plaster. I believe you can feel the smell of the cow dung. It's still fresh. The children had problem with jiggers, some sort of parasite that lives in the soil. So it goes through the feet, because most of the locals here, they walk barefoot. So what we did, we came with some sort of pesticide, sprayed fast, no jiggers now. Yeah.
We're going to remove jiggers from the feet of the children on the house. We're going to wash their feet. We're going to wash the dog that has the fleas, and then disinfect the house and wash the feet of the people in the old households. Jiggers are fleas that are on the ground. The highest they can jump is 20 centimeters, and they can affect anything from cattle to dogs to sheep to pigs. If the place your surrounding is dirty, you'll have a lot of fleas, therefore you'll get jiggers. You have to remove the whole jigger. If someone steps on the eggs again, the reinfection continues.
I was one of the first orphans that started Rafiki, and I joined Rafiki in 2002 when I was in class 6. So we started as orphans. Okay, it was recruiting the orphans, partially or total orphan. So I was partial orphan.
Good. The orphan children were essentially pushed off as the unwanted in the society. They were a burden to families that were already struggling with poverty. They faced a lot of stigma and discrimination because in many cases their parents had died because of HIV and AIDS. Many at that time didn't fully understand what HIV and AIDS is about. So then there was that fear of, just the fear of the unknown.
So when my father died, we had nowhere to cling on. So the community health workers were going around to identify the vulnerable children and the orphans that need to be supported. So when they were walking around, they came to our family, and after proper discussion and accessing of how we are surviving, they identified us as home that needs to be supported. That is how I get involved into Rafiki.
Okay, first of all, my mother died in 2005. As I came here, I was having the problems for the school, how I could join the school here, because I have only my father and my stepmother, and they are not capable of raising me up. So as the Rafiki were walking around, picking the children who are having the problems, they came across me. They volunteered to assist me on how I can go to school and doing for me other things, because I'm coming from a poor family.
The best thing Rafiki has done for me is the educational support, sponsoring my education through all the levels. I'm currently pursuing agricultural course, that is agribusiness management at the university.
They educated me, they empowered me, they've taught me how to be a strong woman in the community.
I'm one of the beneficiaries of Rafiki, and I study at Gagre Secondary School. It's my last year in secondary school. I hope to finish school and join a college somewhere and study journalism, Badwele. And after that, I finish my education and my studies. Then I'll also try as much as I can to help somebody like me, because I will also help to learn.
There was a lot of ignorance about the rights of children by the children themselves and by the community members. You know, Rafiki has been very, very active on this idea, this question of the right of children.
We are focusing on building children in terms of them knowing what are their rights. And we are also focusing on building the parents and the community to also know what are their rights as parents.
It was very difficult for a child even to stand up before the people when they are not in their school, just coming up and then start talking on things that may be affecting them. But here these days we have a very good number. Actually, I was surprised by, I have a boy, my son, of course, I have a small son, my last born, in standard 4. So I heard him talking about the rights, my rights, education, my rights, clothes. So I was quiet somewhere just looking at this boy. Where has this boy got these things? Yeah, so actually it is telling you that people are really getting a lot of awareness on this question of their rights and abuses.
The national figures for abuse is averagely at 80%. That is so high. Then we are moving to sexual abuse. We narrow down to sexual abuse. The percentages are ranging between 20 to 30%. That is again so big.
Yes, we do have cases of children who have been defiled, particularly bearing in mind that some of these children are orphaned because of HIV/AIDS. So you find children who are living with caregivers, but within the advocacy unit, we advocate to protect the right of the child, because this child has a right to live, has a right to grow up to be a normal adult without having to be defiled. So we normally work with the local authorities, but we also focus on educating the young person, the child, that if this happens to you, then it's wrong. You need to report it to so and so.
Rafiki, I was at home by the time that we came from Uganda, and then I liked music. So I was training at home with our young children. So one of our Rafiki staffs were passing, and he called me and asked me if I can teach those children at Gotokola PSS Center. So I decided to go there, and then on looking at our home, it was not well. My mother was dead, so they decided to take me, and my name was written in their list. At that time, I became a Rafiki child.
An Janet Atieno, Ajaiga Paragade, and the 37 kg. Rafiki na ayudo Rafiki kanema moto to ne iwuotho ga kikao nyithind kiye to nondiki nyingwa, alafu to nyiswa ni wachak dhi PSS.
One of the key things we are carrying out right now is what we call the psychosocial support centers, which are the PSS centers. Usually every Saturday we go out to the different, we have 5 PSS centers, and within the advocacy units we are looking at psychosocial support, which is a long-term thing. It's not only a one-time thing. So we look at providing services to young people, to the community.
We're supporting each other. We go there, we group, us as the VMPs, we help the staffs in grouping the beneficiaries according to their ages, so that we can discuss the matters of our lives, what the challenges we experience, what the problems we have, and then we find the solution within ourselves. You have a problem, I have a solution. I'll obviously help you to get an answer to your problem. If I'm then a beneficiary, then the rest of my family members, my siblings, are also there. So if I'm there, then even the youngest one is also there. We are averagely 300. In the rest centers, it will depend. Others have 200, others 400, and altogether they're now more than 1,000.
we look at enhancing the skills of the young people, empowering them, giving them a safe environment to be children, especially for the young people, because that's another role that is normally missed out. In the local area, people use children to do work, to go. So these children grow up and they don't really have time to be children, which is really important because that's the time they grow their talents and everything.
I'm cooking githeri. That is in Swahili. In the Luo, that is my local language, we call it nyoyo, which is a mixture of maize and beans. Whereas the maize is the carbohydrate, the beans is the proteins, and then we add veggies as vitamins to make the meal complete for the kids. The guardians do it willingly.
Anja kom mar Gagra Center. Arito nyithindo 50 kendo wabedo kodgi kanyo ngeso ka ngeso. Arito kaka ginyalo chiemo maber, ka chiemo oseani gi rafiki mokelnigi, waloso nigi kendo wapuonjore kodgi kendo watugo kodgi endo.
So psychosocial support is more of helping the children to be able to know this is my right as a child, and the parent know that this is my right as a parent, and the child is given a safe environment to play where there are no pedophiles, so that at least they know they have the space to feel to be children, so that they can nurture their talent out of that.
A guardian is somebody who is taking care of a kid, a vulnerable kid. That is a guardian.
Manengio kaka nyithindo dak, kaka ji odak gi nyithindo. Mo bedo trend kama omiwa certificates. Koro from there again gin ga koda machiegni. Through gimatimo. Yes, aneno changes. Nyir mane richa ahinya kata mane goye nyithindo go eko. Mano no rumo. Child abuse bende kor gweng mano no rumo nge sani. Koro gidak kodgi maber. Kata mana raping cases go gidok chien. Koro mano change maneno. Achung ne Owindi village. Ginyalo romo 15. Oda an gi nyithinda 4. Role na en ni ang'iyo rights mag nyithindo kendo anyalo cancel gi kang'iyo kota jomodak kodgi ka timonegi child abuse. Awuoyo kodgi. Moko nyalo beto, koro samoro beto to ywak. Kobiro ira tadhi wuoyo gi ng'ama omiye, to waneno kaka o change.
Mama Jane osebedo ka puonjowa kaka warito nyithindo gi ratiro. Nyathi ka nyathi nyaka wami ratiro.
Kendo gi kar kanyo nyalo medo apuonjoga jonyuol mondo obed free gi nyithindgi mondo nyathi nyalo nyise problem ma nyathi neno.
Kadwa wuoyo, Mama Jane osebedo ka puonjowa kaka wan mond liete modagi nyithindi kiye. Osebedo ka puonjowa ni mondo mi wayud kaka wanyalo konyore.
Gima dwana nyise mogik chal kama endi. Wan kaka group mobet piny kar kaeni. Wakwayo ni mondo gigernwa od gwen, mwanyalo pidhi gwen. Koro gwen kaka wabro yudo gwen, en ni wase decide ni kila member bro kelo gwen achiel. Ka gisegeronwa od gwen, magimiyowa yath minyalo chanj godo gwen, to wabro pidho gwen go kamoro achiel kaka group. Nyalo konyowa kata mana yore chulo ne nyithindo pesni moko matindo midwaro e school.
Kech nyathi karo uniform, samoro nti pesa moro yembe ne nyathi sikul, maseche gitu yonge kata pesano. To ka in go hala moro miloko, tinyalo kawo pesano, timri nadi, titero gi chulo ne nyathi sikul.
Rafiki only empowers the community, like in trainings, because we believe in empowerment and we want the guardians, we want the community members to honor their projects and take charge of their own projects. We want them to be independent. Rafiki works with 40 groups, and in these 40 groups we have different income generating activities. We have beekeepers, we have poultry keepers, we have dairy goat keepers, and we have moringa farmers.
My group, we are selling honey. When it reaches time to harvest, we get money to help each other as widows, and even some children to take to school fee.
Cobra Women Group mostly are beekeepers. They've lost their husband due to HIV/AIDS, and they have so many OVCs that they take care of. Like you can find one woman, an elderly mama, is having like 10 OVCs under one roof. They've been trained on beekeeping, and they harvest honey. They have 9 hives. They do harvest honey and sell to Rafiki. And this money, they buy food. They also give their children honey. They use it to sustain their lives.
We have a group there at Rafiki called VMPs.
VMP.
It means Vijana Mikono Pamoja.
In Swahili. If we translate, it's young people joining hands together to help each other.
We know our problems. We look on how we can sit down and come up the problem. We can overcome the problem without looking at our parents or our sponsors. That's why we come up with the idea of forming a group called the VMP.
If you're a VMP, you're someone who is young. You're someone who can make something from a zero to something by using your creative. You create things from your thinking ability, and you come up with things to sustain you and be independent of nobody else. So the activities we have within our team, the goat keeping, the chicken rearing, and the trainer selling. So all of the activities are our IGS, and the things we're looking upon to make us come from them to build something else from that.
In the OPSS centers, we've also given what we call bags. Bags, this is basically German alpine bags. This is he-goats. So these bags will serve local goats at these children's homes, and this will improve production.
The local goats are brought for the servicing. They're serviced at a fee, the 50 shillings if it is brought for servicing, which will help in the maintenance. They're being washed, they're being treated, so that is the money that is used here. And again, the he-goat again upgrades the local breeds that we have around. So if it mates with that one, the product is going to be of a high quality.
The local goats will give birth or kid to a very healthy and big and strong kid that when they take to the market, they sell at more money, and the money used to support the family. When they are milking, they'll be able to get much more milk compared to when it was just a local goat.
We also create a sense of responsibility in us as the VMPs. We are responsible for its management and its maintenance and ensure that everything is okay. We are students, some of us are pupils, we are ongoing people. All the day long, we don't stay at home. How do you manage this? That is the reason as to why we came together. Our parents are also involved.
The ones that have been upgraded today, when I was given a kid, a goat, and it gives birth, I give my kid to somebody else who never received from Rafiki. So again, we're encouraging a culture of sharing.
It is revolving. I give you, you make it up, you give to the next person. So I'm still on that process of revolution.
For the Polytechnic, we are focusing on training young people, and our focus is to try and give a ray of hope to young people who thought if they didn't make it to high school, then they have no way forward. So we more or less bring them in to harness them in different skills. We do tailoring and dressmaking. And then we have the second piece, which is carpentry and joinery, where we are training young people to harness their talents in terms of making all kinds of timber furniture work. Then the third one is ICT. So we train young people in information communication technology. Then we also have sustainable agriculture. We can use the locally available resources. So we also want to train the young people to be able to harness their local land for them to be able to create something out of it, generate food, work around it to get an income. We also have other courses that are coming on board like welding, electricals, masonry. One of the other courses we are training is hairdressing and beauty in a professional manner. And all these are geared towards making sure that the young person is able to use their hands to be able to generate income and even develop themselves and at large develop the community.
Kura am koni kanya zoyi omed sodo molo kanyo mondo nyalo bedo maber kech koro konyo oganda mang'eny.
My hope is that every child will get an opportunity to smile again.
Don't look at the situation and say that given that I was born poor, I'll die poor. But try the best.
Life never ends when you lose your parents. You always have to keep on going on.
Never lose hope.
Every child is unique and every child is great. By accepting that you are great and unique will give you a reason to keep moving forward. Challenges come, challenges go.
You can make it. No matter what, you will make it in life. Because the challenge with the orphans is when they lose their parents, they think that's the end of the world. Particularly, I'm an orphan myself. When I lost my parent, I used to think that's the end of the world. And as I've grown up and I have moved, I have worked through my career life, I have learned to tell an orphan I meet that you can actually make it. It's not the end of the world.
They will find their direction, they will find their meaning, and they will laugh again.
Bye-bye.